is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That is brand new stuff from the band D-A-D. That was a rockin' little number called Musical Chairs from the album Playing for the Loud. And on the line right now is the guy that tells all the prayers for the loud. It is Jesper Binzer. Jesper, how are you, man?
I'm fine. Thank you so much. How are you?
I'm great, man. I am much better after ending an 8-year wait for brand new D-A-D, man. It's great to have new music.
We're sorry. We're sorry. But on the other hand, it seemed like we needed those 8 years. I don't know, being a rock star for 30 years, there's bound to be some kind of hangover, and that was our hangover time.
Sure. Well, Jesper, talk a little bit about that. I mean, it's not like you were sitting around doing nothing. I mean, you obviously did some solo work, and there's a biography now about you, so you've been very busy.
I'm the guy with I've got this diagnosis. No, I don't have, but I feel definitely more filled up with energy than the rest of the guys. But it's okay. I don't know. It's that kind of energy is something you need to be a lead singer, I guess. But nevertheless, we've been touring a lot. It seems like we're on our third or fourth wind of in Europe. So they keep calling us every summer. We are out there, and it feels good. And and we're spending a lot of time doing it. And it's great to meet the fans. But, come fall, suddenly all the old guys are so tired. Sure. And that's been more or less going on for 5-6 years. So that's more or less what happened. I mean, there's maybe a more, intelligent reason for the wait. And that was, at one point, we spent too much time playing the old songs. First, we had this 30-year anniversary. And then we played some album shows, that concept, the concept concerts where you play a whole album, and so we did that, and it took the artist out of us in a way, just playing the old songs.
Sure.
So now we're back with the new songs, and back in the now, so to speak.
Sure. Well, and the one thing from listening to Prayer for the Loud, Jesper, is that it's typical in some respects to what you guys have always done, but at the same time, there are a lot of a little more subtle changes to it, like you guys really, stretched out a little bit more than maybe you have on some of the previous records. Do you agree?
I agree. I think that, there's so many things to say about it, but we are a very democratic and very collective band. So everybody gets a say on everything.
Okay.
So that, it takes a lot of time, and it's endless discussions. This time around, I think that we try to be a little more grown up about it. Mm-hmm. So the guy with the vision were allowed to to take it to the end. So all these songs has one to start off, one guy in the band that was like, okay, I'm the sponsor of this one, and so we kind of let that guy be in peace and try to make it show us where you want to go with this. Okay. So in a way, there's more there's more artistic vision in each song maybe. But nevertheless, it's we blew several deadlines. So in the end, we just said, okay, fuck it. Let's just do what we do and then call the record company when we're almost finished, instead of calling before we go in the studio. We're ready for this and this deadline. No, we were not. I mean, we were boiling everything down to the most D-A-D as possible.
Sure.
That was it's a great thing to do, because we've been having fun. We've been doing all kinds of stuff. Everything but a reggae song maybe we've tried out. So we had our fun. So this time it's just good, to show a sharper profile of yourself, so to speak.
Now, and the one thing that I did read was that you guys had a lot of songs to choose from this time, maybe more than on some other records.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Okay.
It's creativity, and be able to start with nothing, and then in the afternoon you got something. That's the magic. That's maybe the sole reason for doing this. It's like, wow, and that's what we do, the four of us. But you need to get that the creativity. You don't have to. You must not stop it. It's like it has to go its own way, and then at the end, okay, here's a song. Okay, it's not a good song. Okay, let's make another song tomorrow.
Nice. Well, Jesper, I've interviewed 1,000 musicians at this point, and from talking to musicians, you guys never let go of songs. So do you hold on to those songs that didn't make the cut for this record and think, well, maybe with 6 months or a year I can rework it and make it feel a little more, right for maybe another record?
Yeah, definitely. That's what you hope. It seldom ends up like that anyway. I mean, it's like, the good thing about time is that the ego disappears, because then if this guy, he made that riff, for instance, and that guy made that the lyrics, and then in the end, when you listen to it 2-3 years later, nobody knows who did what, and then you can listen to it without prejudice, and it's like like totally ego free in a sense, which again means that then you can just pick and choose, and then suddenly you can hear the good part of a song and the bad parts of the song. So you pick out the good parts and put it in another song. That's mostly how it happens, because there was a reason that it didn't end up on the album. And of course you hope that you've got nuggets and nuggets of golden hits, but it's seldom. It often turns out that you were clever in the very beginning anyway.
Sure, definitely. Now speaking of clever and certainly being creative, I think, and this might surprise you, but my favorite song on Prayer for the Loud is the ballad, is Drug for the Heart. It's it's a nice curve, but man, it is such a strong song and a very strong lyrical song, which I'm assuming is you. Is it personal, or is it just something you wrote, or?
It's definitely personal, but it's a mixture, because sometimes you feel a little too embarrassed to write about yourself like one to one. Sometimes you need some kind of distance to even get closer to yourself. So this song started out with me thinking about how how the love life of Laust was going. So I was looking at Laust and writing a song about myself. But that's how it works. You try to get a little distance in order to be as honest as possible, and then in the end you find, the whole thing is about me. Oh shit, I should have known beforehand. But it's like, that's the way things work. You tend to be a little more daring when it's not about yourself, or that's what you think.
Sure. And I might be reaching here, but I write books as well. So, did writing a book about yourself and revealing, a lot more than the music ever did, does that make it easier now to write songs that reveal a little more about yourself?
Yeah, this whole book experience was a great thing, but that came just after a period of therapy. And that kind of therapy and writing that book it's pretty similar in the sense that you get to dig deeper into yourself, and you try to find something that is not like the ready-made rock cliche, but you try to find, things about yourself. So therapy and writing that book has definitely taught me that even though you think you're so honest and you think you're bearing yourself, and now this is going to be the most embarrassing song, people tend to say, this is great. I know exactly how you feel. So that's it. It's like over time you find out there's nothing really that's too personal. In a sense, it's very global in that sense, and it's for everybody. So it's just dig in, and dig in.
It definitely is, but I can see, because I've written a couple of autobiographies myself, and sometimes it's a little weird for me, maybe not for you, but it's weird when people come up to me or message me on Facebook or wherever they are, and they're like, they say something that like I thought was only for friends, and then it's like, exactly. Oh yeah, I guess I wrote that.
Exactly. But that's, because those secrets that we walk around with, they don't really have any value unless you are trying to get them out in the open air. And it's like suddenly you find out that you've been wrong or you've been right. But when you say it out loud, suddenly you find out if it's the truth or not. And that's very important, because some of us walks around pretty delusional. So when we put it out in the open, people can say, okay, I see where you come from.
Sure. Now, Jesper, I saw that you worked with Nick Foss and Rune Peterson for the production of Prayer for the Loud. What did they bring to the table that you felt maybe wasn't there on some of the previous work?
Okay, they bring a lot, but what they do mostly is they're coaches. They're sweet guys,
Okay.
and they support. And they say, "Oh yes, but that lyric is a bit boring. That takes us nowhere. Can you try? Maybe find something else." So on the lyric side, they tend to be a little pushy. On the composing sides, it's like they never come up with a riff, or they never come up with a chord change or anything. It's just like they sit back and try to be as they say themselves, try to have their emotions ready to to suck in the feelings, and then they just say, this chorus is boring me, or the verse is too long, or whatever. And it's stuff that we do ourselves, of course.
Sure.
It's stuff we know exactly. But at one point, you need that extra push and that a little kick in the butt that really makes things clear. So the producers have been coaches, and they've been taking a lot of responsibility, because the four of us are not easy to get in one room at one time. So they've taken responsibility as well. So it's been very pleasurable to work with them.
Sure, and they did a great job. I mean, you guys all did. If nothing, even if a person didn't like your music per se, you cannot argue that it sounds great. I mean, it's just got a great big sound to it. It sounds almost concert live in a lot of areas, but it doesn't sound raw. I mean, it's a great sounding record.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm going to put that to the guys. They're going to love it, and I'm happy you think so, and I'm glad you think so. Thank you.
Sure. Now, Jesper, one of the things that has obviously changed just a ton in the last decade is the way music is purchased and listened to and whatnot. I'm curious, for a band like D-A-D, does that help you to find people that, especially here in the States where you guys never had the big break, does that help you find people, or does it hurt you as a business, as the business of D-A-D, or what does that do?
The business of D-A-D has never been we've never been an album selling band. So the man has been taking the album money, the man has been taking any which way.
Right.
In any decade, the man has been taking our money in that sense.
Okay.
But playing live, of course, is our own business and our own joint. And that has never, it's only gone better and better. And of course, there is like a global village kind of feeling with all these social medias and this internet. So suddenly we get more in real-time contact with old fans,
sure,
which has proven perfect. And whenever we do stupid stuff like release concerts or pop-up concerts in Europe, the Americans can, see what happens where we are, which is, I don't know, maybe the most important part of it is not to be misunderstood and not to be, so that people know who you are, so they hear the music in some kind of context. And that has been like the big problem in the 90s, that nobody knew what we were doing over here. And it was like, there was no Instagram, and thank God there's an Instagram now, because now everybody knows what we are doing. Sure. And that's great.
Sure. Is it frustrating to you? Because I know as somebody that has enjoyed your music and actually realizes that you have 15 or 18 records or whatever it is, it's always been frustrating to me as a fan that most United States people are just vaguely familiar with your band. They think the earliest record or two that were here and gone in a minute, and that's it. And they don't realize the pretty incredible career that you've had over in Europe, especially.
Yeah. But that's just how it is. There's nothing we can do about it. And definitely being a band from the 80s, of course, stuff like that would happen, that people would forget about us.
Sure.
But we've been so lucky that we have this mainstream career in our small home country, which has, of course, kept us economically, but also the interest. The dialogue has continued in smaller scales in those years, and it's just perfect to be able to stay alive and keep releasing albums, keep having people enjoying it. Only if it's just Northern Europe. Sure. Or some of the albums, like in the late zeros, where it was just Northern Europe, and that was it. That was what we had to but being creative. It doesn't matter how many listen, just some people. Just I mean, we need to have an audience, and we need to have a dialogue going. And it seems like, and it feels like now is a great time to come back to the States because people are more up to date with us.
Sure. It's always been amazing to me following your career that in Europe and in Denmark and whatnot, you guys play big shows, and you're always at the at least the upper half of like festivals when you guys do your festival runs. And that no promoter here in the United States has ever been smart enough to figure out how to get you here and how to put you in, not a 300-seat club, but in a decent club or a decent size tour. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's right. But I mean, at one point you just have to, admit, all right, this is how things are looking. This is how it is. I mean, what kept us alive in all these years is also one of the reasons that we're not the first choice, because we are somewhere between three chairs, the metal and the hard rock and the glam blues or whatever. I mean, we're not like a total metal band, and we're not a hair metal band. It's like it's maybe it's a little different. I mean, who are these guys going to tour with? Okay, and who? Right. I mean, who's their audience? And I think it's okay, and it's because that's exactly what kept us alive. I mean, we've never been attached to a bandwagon that went wayside, and then we died with that. I mean, we've been our own, and at some points it has been rough.
Sure.
And it has definitely been a local hero.
Sure.
Just being in Denmark.
Were you ever tempted to do that, though? Were you ever tempted to write a record that sounded like Motley Crue or The Cult or, Social Distortion? I'm throwing bands that maybe sort of have elements of you.
Definitely. I mean, but also that's something that comes with age, and when you're in the rehearsing room so much as we've been and composing and doing. I mean, we've recorded over 200 original songs. Now that I'm looking back at it, it's like, so we know how it is. So whenever, and we do that all the time, we say to it, okay, let's do a great cult song. Right. Cult is the best, let's do a cult song. And then you start off, okay, this is great. This is what Billy Duffy would have done. Okay, and the lyrics in the verse, it's totally an aspect. Oh, we are rocking. And then you can't finish it. You can only finish stuff that lives in your heart, so to speak.
Sure.
So you're more or less forced to do your own stuff. You have more or less forced to find out who yourself are and put that out there. And it's like whatever of course, I would love to just stand there and rock out to something that people could relate to like straight away. Mm-hmm. But we need to be D-A-D. That's what we are.
Sure. And you know what? For fans, there's something that's timeless about bands like yours that did not have the huge, like I'm going to use the band Warrant, and I'm not shitting on it in any way. I'm just saying they had a minute where they were absolutely big, but when that style went away, so did they. And you guys never fit in any of those niches, which has let you guys kind of almost supersede any trend that has followed.
Exactly. And that's been like the up and the downside, definitely in D-A-D's career. And I've seen from this perspective, it of course has been an upside. But for a record company's perspective, it's been a downside.
Right.
They couldn't really market us like, totally with a sharp profile. But the thing is, as long as we get to play our concerts, as long as we get to play and make music, I mean, that's really what it doesn't matter under which flag, across which borders.
Sure.
But of course, in the old days, it meant a lot to us that America listened, and it meant a lot to be in the center of the rock culture, so to speak, like being in America. But now it seems like, okay, there really metal hits and hard rock hits all over the world, and there's loads of audiences out there that that really admires an energy rock and roll band as ours. Sure. So when they call, we show up, and when they call from America, we show up.
Excellent. Very good. Well, Jesper, I'm going to assume with Prayer for the Loud out now that you do have touring plans. What do they look like for the distant future?
We're going to do a lot of Scandinavia right now, and we're doing it. It's like I mean, these weekends over here, there's festivals all over the place. So this is actually going to be the third weekend where we've got double jobs on one of the days. It's like, whoa. So we play like early evening in the south of the country, and then very late evening in the north of the country. And it's pretty busy, and it's hard too, but it's very nice.
Sure.
To feel that there's people who want to listen to us, and it's very nice to get to. I mean, to play 2 concerts in one day. The last concert is actually pretty good. I mean, everyone's warmed up. Everybody knows what the songs are about. It's a good feeling. But you need to do your yoga in the weekdays.
Right. and look, there's what you could be sitting in a cubicle. There's worse things you could be doing.
Yeah, definitely.
No doubt. Well, Jesper, the new record is called Prayer for the Loud. It's D-A-D, of course. And where should people go online to keep up with you and keep up with the band and where you're going to be in those things?
I think, of course, to keep up in a funny left-sided way, you should keep up on my Instagram account, of course, Jesper Binzer's Instagram account. But D-A-D has an Instagram account called D-Land After Dark, which is also filled up with all kinds of stupid stuff. And then, of course, there's a Facebook thing. But in order to listen, I think all platforms.
Okay.
I mean, Amazon, Apple, Spotify, all platforms you can hear the music.
All right, excellent. Well, Jesper, as a tradition on the show, we always let the artist pick a closing track from the record, maybe tell us a quick story about it. So what would you like us to wrap this interview up with?
Okay, now we talked a little bit about the cult. I think we should wrap this interview up with a song called The Real Me, which has a little bit of that swagger. But it's also a song that's dear to all of us heart, because it's just standing. It's a song about having your own ideas, standing up for them, and saying sorry at one point. Okay, I'm just me. But this is definitely a song about D-A-D.
All right, well, let's check it out right now. It is The Real Me. It is D-A-D right here on your Classic Metal Show.